Chapter 1. The Edge of the Cliff. The sound of the wind softly blowing, mingling with the distant call of birds. The dawn air was sharp as glass, carrying the scent of frost and distant pine. At the cliff's edge, a solitary figure stood silhouetted against the waking sky. Elthareth Gilrin, future Queen of Agonilia, her breath curling into the stillness. The sun's first rays gilded the mountain peaks, painting them in fire, but her gaze lingered on the shadows pooling in the valleys below. A pause as the sound of light wind increases. The tips of the mountains were slowly painted with splashes of orange and red, heralding the morning light. This was the foot of the kingdom of the mountain elves, who had ruled the mountains and valleys for over 1,000 years. But lately, the attacks on the kingdom had become more frequent and earnest. Ambience shifts slightly, a hint of tension creeping into the air. The Elven kingdom was powerful, facing threats they could handle, but the damage had begun to show. Elthareth inhaled deeply, drawing in the clean mountain air and allowing the sweet scent of flowers to linger a moment longer before stepping away from the cliff. The sound of soft footsteps retreating from the edge. Elthareth Gilrin had come to this bluff every morning before the sun since she came of age, 150 years ago. High Elven, her lineage traced back to the god Odin himself. As the rays of the rising sun caught her, her golden hair, radiant and flowing, framed a face of ethereal beauty. With winsome grace, she moved, her hair capturing the light like a sunbeam dancing with hints of silver, reminiscent of the light of the two trees. Long, flowing, and intricately braided, it cascaded down her slender but muscled elven body. The wind softly picking up. Her face was delicate and symmetrical, with high cheekbones, a slender nose, and slightly pointed ears, marking her elven heritage. Her eyes, striking in their light purple-gray, reflected the shimmering light of the great Varenkoln stream. A subtle glow enveloped her. Ethelreth, or Tari, as most who dare to love her called her, took another deep breath, and a soft whistle sliced through the morning air. The call for her trusted griffin. The sounds of wings flapping majestically, a thrilling call echoes as the griffin appears. He descended gracefully, and she mounted him, soaring up the mountain in perfect poise. The wind rushes around them as they fly. The griffin lands on the balcony of her chamber with a light thud. Elthareth swung herself off the majestic bird, rubbing his head affectionately before slipping through the open door. The rustling fabric as she changes. In her chamber, she discarded her riding gear, replacing it with formal attire for the throne. A flowing gown adorned with nature-inspired motifs, leaves, vines, and flowers celebrating her kingdom, encircled her. A delicate necklace, a treasured gift from her. But she slipped on her boots, a subtle act of rebellion against the formal expectations of her parents. The sound of a soft but urgent knock on the door, followed by a voice. Voice, urgent. Tari, your presence is required in the throne room. Elthareth sighed, knowing her peaceful morning was over. Duty called her back to the responsibilities of a queen-in-waiting. Her boots crush on the marble as she walks down the dimly lit corridor. She walked toward the throne room, where bright sunlight streamed in, illuminating the regal space. Her father, the imposing King Adanther Gilrin, sat upon the throne, flanked by her mother. The gentle ambience fills the throne room. Her mother offered a soft smile, one filled with love and pride for her daughter. Adantir, gesturing, Elteret, come sit. Elthareth gracefully approached the throne. Curiosity tugged at her as she settled beside him. The look on her father's face was not one she had seen often. Nervousness danced across his features. Elthareth, concerned, is everything okay, father? Adanther, taking a deep breath, we need to discuss a sensitive, serious matter, Tari. Elthareth's eyebrow arches up at the mention of her nickname. Tension fills the air. Idhelriel, gently stepping forward, sweetheart, we received an alliance invitation from the Svartálfar kingdom. They propose marriage. The words echo in the throne room, heavy as a hammer striking metal. Silence follows, thick with tension. Elthareth's heartbeat quickened, an alarm sounding in her chest. She looked from her mother to her father and back again, disbelief washing over her. Her mother, beautiful and ethereal with dark hair laced with silver and emeralds, stood poised and ready to support her. Elthareth's breath hitched as she processes the proposal. Elthareth, voice shaky. Marriage? With an abrupt motion, she pulls her hands from her father's grip and begins to pace. Her elven ears tinged pink as frustration ignited on her radiant face. She finally stops, exhaling deeply. Elthareth, strained. Who am I to marry? Adanther, steadfast, the princes of Svartálfar. Elthareth returns to her chair, tension radiating from her. Images of ancient scrolls and folklore flooded her mind. The Svartálfar, rare breeds of elf rarely seen in the surface world, known for their ability to conjure gold and craft like the dwarves. Their presence was a mystery, their kingdom shrouded in shadows. Why now? An invitation for marriage. An internal struggle stirs within her, fear against duty. Elthareth, softly, if this is what you require me to do, father, then I will accept on one condition. The chair creaks as she leans forward. Elthareth, with determination, I will not use grandmother's ring. That is sacred and shall only be for one who proves himself worthy. Murmurs ripple through the throne room, echoing her resolve. Chapter 2. The Mysterious Encounter. Later that evening, Elthareth walks the forest with a heaviness that stems from the thought being bound to another elf and loveless in this case. Her boots tread the gravel with featherlight ease, but it feels like lead on her small feet. The sound of the forest comes alive around her, and the mystical forest cascades with colors and sounds of the small and protective species that lives in it. The Gildren House is, and always has been, the keepers of the mountain and forest surrounding it. Their strength and magic come directly from the connection between forest and mountain. It is a sacred bond that cannot be broken or destroyed by any magic. The bonds have been engraved in their being and blood, multiple layers of ancient wards and ancestral surrender. The slight bow of the leaves and flowers around her is normally an awe to her, but tonight, with her heavy thoughts and faraway look, she does not notice it. Then suddenly her ears twitch, high alert to danger close to her. She slowly reaches for the sword on her side, and the scraping of the metal against the sheath is a familiar sound to her ears. The sword glistens in the lights coming from the fireflies around her. She takes on the war stance and listens. Her eyes close for a fraction of a second, and then she hears it. The whoosh of an arrow leaving its bow, the whistle through the trees. She calculates the distance and turns her body slightly. 100 meters to her left. She exhales slowly, her warm breath leaving her mouth in steam. A whisper of air. Elthareth's ears twitched. The arrow's flight sang through the trees, a lethal hum. She pivoted, her blade flashing. Steel met wood with a crack that split the night. Above her, the branches shivered. Not from wind. From someone. Someone who moved like shadow given form. Then she lifts her feet and jumps, landing on the branch above her. She crouches low and, like an invisible snake, coils through the treetops. Her eyes scan the area below. Then she sees it. A small figure moving swiftly through the forest. The movement of the figure below has Elthareth in awe. This is stealth beyond what she is used to. It's like the figure does not touch the ground, moves with the forest, and uses the magic around them to propel them forward. It's like watching a version of herself, the way they use the trees to propel them forward, the swift use of the air around them to keep them steady. The silence that is blending seamlessly with the quiet of the night. Elthareth moves with purpose now, jumping from tree to tree. This is her element. She is one with the forest and mountains. They bend at her will and guide her effortless. She is like a slight breeze on the leaf. No disturbance, but yet using all their strength they are giving her. Her heart beat a thud in her chest. She reaches the end of the kingdom and then watches as the figure disappears into the night. Just outside the borders of the kingdom. This was not an attempt on her life. This was a test. But for what? Elthareth sits on the branch, watching the black spot the figure disappeared into. Magic, she knows. She could have caught up with them, but the chase was so exhilarating that she let them get ahead of her. Elthareth is a high elven, and there is no magic or foe that can defeat her in this mountain and forest. Her grandmother had taught her to use the forest and mountain to her advantage. There is not stronger bond than that. She has perfected that skill over hundreds of years. A slow smile creeps on her lips, intrigued by this stranger and worthy foe. Then a sliver of light catches her eye. She descends to the ground to retrieve it. A jewel, and not one she has seen before. This is not from her kingdom. She pockets the stone and returns to her room in the mountain palace. Chapter 3. The Council Chamber. Sound of echoing footsteps as Elthareth walks through the long corridors. The atmosphere is tense yet solemn. Soft murmurs of voices echo in the backdrop. The weight of her decision settled upon Elthareth as she made her way to the council chamber. Her heart beat steadily, each thrum a reminder of her new responsibilities as a queen in waiting. Transition sound, the creaking of an old wooden door as it slowly opens. Inside the chamber, the council of elders awaited her, faces lined with age and wisdom, each a keeper of the kingdom's secrets. They turned their gaze toward her as she entered, their expressions a mix of concern and curiosity. Sound of murmurs halting abruptly, replaced by a heavy silence. Elder Mailer, voice deep and resonant. Elthareth, future queen, we must discuss the implications of this alliance with the Svartálfar. Sound of the council members shifting in their seats. Elthareth, taking a deep breath with determination. I am aware of the stakes, Elder. I aim to lead with wisdom and courage. Sound of council members nodding in approval. A subtle sense of unity fills the air. Elder Lyriel, gentle yet firm. The Svartálfar are mysterious, Tari. Their intentions are often shrouded in secrecy. Their magic is not like ours. It can be both wondrous and dangerous. Sound of Elthareth's resolve solidifying. She steps forward, meeting their gazes. Elthareth, with confidence, I believe this alliance can strengthen our kingdom. We must not fear the unknown. Rather, we should embrace it and seek to understand. The room fills with whispers as the elders share glances, some skeptical, others intrigued. Elder the Lion, aged and wise, yet marrying one of their princes. This will bind our kingdoms in ways we cannot foresee. Are you prepared for that burden? Sound of Elthareth inhaling deeply, steadying herself for the challenge ahead. Elthareth, with conviction, I understand this is no small matter, but I cannot shy away from my destiny. Every decision we make affects the future of our people. I will do what is necessary. The council murmurs agreement but remains hesitant, skepticism lingering in the air. Chapter 4. The Garden. Sound of birds chirping pleasantly, the gentle rustle of leaves in the breeze, transitioning to the warmth of the sunlight filtering through the trees. After the council meeting, Elthareth sought solace in the gardens of the palace. Here, nature thrived, a sanctuary filled with vibrant flowers and lush greenery, a stark contrast to the weight of her earlier conversations. Sound of footsteps softening as she walks among the flowers, her fingers brushing against the petals. Yet the beauty around her could not ease the turmoil within. The weight of her impending marriage and alliance loomed heavily over her heart. Sound of a gentle breeze rustling through the branches, whispering secrets of the past. Elthareth, to herself, contemplative, what if this union brings strife? What if it endangers our people? Sound of footsteps approaching. The light laughter of her friend, Aaron, cuts through her thoughts. Aaron, cheerfully. There you are, Tari. Hiding away again? You know, the flowers are starting to miss you. Elthareth turns, a soft smile breaking through her worries. Elthareth, playfully. Is that so? They seem to be blooming just fine without me. Sound of laughter, bright and infectious, as Aaron approaches. Aaron, gently. I heard about the alliance. Are you all right with it? Elthareth's expression shifts, the smile fading slightly as she thinks about her response. Elthareth, thoughtful. I'll do what is expected, Aaron. But there's fear in my heart. What if I cannot fulfill my duty? Sound of silence as Aaron places a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Aaron, softly. You are stronger than you know, Elthareth. You have the spirit of our people inside you. Trust in yourself and the love that binds us. They share a warm moment, the friendship bringing light into Elthareth's gaze. Elthareth, softly. Thank you, Aaron. I must find the strength to embrace this change. For my kingdom. Sound of soft rustling as they continue walking through the garden, nature thriving around them. Chapter 4. The Royal Library. Sound of pages turning and quiet whispers as they enter the grand library, filled with ancient tomes and scrolls. A comforting, intellectual atmosphere prevails. Later that day, Elthareth decided to seek guidance in the Royal Library, home to the wisdom of ages. Here, nestled among the wooden shelves, she felt a connection to the past. Sound of footsteps on the wooden floor, echoing softly. With purpose, she searched for scrolls detailing the history of alliances, particularly with the Svartálfar. Her fingers glide over the spines of the books, a hint of trepidation in her heart as she pulls a scroll from the higher shelf. Sound of unrolling the scroll, the crackle filling the air. Elthareth, to herself reading, the Svartálfar have long been misunderstood. Their crafting abilities can create unprecedented prosperity, but at a price. As she continues reading, her expression shifts, curiosity deepening into concern. The princes were often bound by dark rituals and traditions unknown to the surface dwellers. Would she have to sacrifice her beliefs for the sake of peace? Sound of footsteps approaching. Elder Maelor appears at the doorway. Elder Maelor, warm yet serious. Elthareth, I am glad to see you seeking knowledge. Your path is intertwined with the Svartálfar, and it is wise to understand the history before making decisions. Elthareth looks up, her expression earnest. Elthareth, with determination, I need to know how to navigate this alliance, Elder. If I am to marry one of their princes, I must understand their culture and values. Sound of pages rustling again as Maelor nods in approval. Elder Maelor, encouragingly, knowledge is power, and you have a strong mind. But remember, trust your instincts, for the heart often knows what the mind cannot grasp. The flicker of candlelight illuminating the duo amidst shelves of ancient wisdom. Chapter 5. The Council's Decision. Sound of the library doors creaking open, followed by the soft shuffle of footsteps as Elthareth and Elder Maelor exit into the corridor, their conversation continuing. Having fortified her resolve with knowledge, Elthareth felt the weight of her decisions pressing upon her. As they walked, the echoes of the past blended with the uncertainty of her future. Sound of distant voices can be heard as they approach the council chamber once more. Elder Maelor, thoughtfully, the council gathers to discuss the invitation. Your presence is vital, Elthareth. They need to see your commitment. Elthareth nods, heart racing with a mix of anxiety and determination. She steps through the heavy doors. Sound of the doors closing behind them, enveloping them in a solemn atmosphere. The council, a collection of wise and elder faces, turned toward her as she entered, a wave of mixed emotions washing over the room. Sound of murmurs ceasing as Elthareth approaches the front, standing tall before them. Elder the Lion, with authority. Elthareth, you have sought understanding and wisdom. Now, we require your thoughts on this proposal of marriage. Elthareth takes a deep breath, gathering her thoughts, the eyes of the council burning into her. Elthareth, clear and confident, esteemed elders, the alliance with the Svartálfar offers great promise. Their craftsmen can strengthen our economy, and their knowledge of the earth can help preserve our land. But I understand the fears surrounding their dark reputation. Sound of the council members exchanging glances. Elder Lyriel, concern etched in her features, the tales of the Svartálfar are filled with darkness. Elthareth, what if their magic brings peril instead of prosperity? Elthareth pauses, considering, and then speaks earnestly. Elthareth, with conviction, I believe that understanding their culture and forming genuine bonds can turn fear into cooperation. But we must approach this cautiously. If I am to accept this proposal, I promise to seek knowledge and build trust. Sound of pens scratching on parchment as members begin to take notes. Elder Mailer, supportively. Your willingness to navigate this path is commendable, Elthareth. But the final decision rests with the council. Sound of a gavel striking, the tension palpable as the council discusses her proposition. Elder the Lion, after a pause. Very well, we shall deliberate on this matter. But know this, the road ahead may be fraught with challenges. Your decision will affect the fate of our kingdom. As the council murmurs in discussion, Elthareth steps back, allowing the weight of their words to settle in her heart. Elthareth's days seem to weigh heavy on her, and the only place that calms her is the forest. She escaped to the solitary that night. Sound of rustling leaves and soft footfalls as Elthareth moves through the forest, the warmth of the night air wrapping around her like a gentle cloak. The essence of magic lingers, a reminder of the chase that had just unfolded. Elthareth stepped softly through the underbrush, her heart still racing from the adrenaline of the pursuit. The night deepened, cradling her secrets within its dark embrace. As she reached her chamber, the heavy wooden door creaked open, revealing the familiar solace of her sanctuary. Sound of the door closing, the gentle hum of magic palpable in the air around her. Elthareth strides across the room, her elegant silhouette illuminated by the flickering candlelight. She feels a magnetic pull toward the jewel nestled in her pocket, its weight both comforting and unknown. It glimmered with a subtle light, an otherworldly glow that seemed to pulse with energy, even in the shadowed confines of her chamber. Without hesitation, she produced the jewel and held it up to the candle flame. Sound of the jewel lightly clinking against her wooden desk, illuminating a spectrum of colors subtle yet mesmerizing. Elthareth, muttering to herself, "What are you?" Her fingertips brushed over its smooth surface, feeling a surge of magic resonate within her. It was unlike anything she had ever encountered, a soft whisper of ancient spells, layered within its form. Suddenly, a flicker of movement caught her eye in the corner of the room. Sound of a soft rustle, a familiarity lingering in the air. The shimmer of the jewel seemed to awaken something in her chamber. The plants on her windowsill bowed subtly, as if acknowledging the presence of the rare artifact. Elthareth narrowed her eyes, feeling the atmosphere shift with an undeniable energy. Elthareth, show yourself. She stood resolute, sensing a presence as shadows danced around her. A figure emerged from the darkness, a tall figure, cloaked in moonlight, with soft eyes that sparkled like starlit skies. Mystery figure, with a hint of mischief, I see you've found a token of our bond. The chase was a test, after all. You've passed with grace. Elthareth narrowed her eyes, suspicion mingling with intrigue as she studied the figure. Their features were ethereal, with an air of confidence and familiarity that made her pulse quicken. Elthareth, defensive yet curious. You? Sound of a faint rustling cloak as the figure steps forward, the shadows melding seamlessly with their movements. Mystery figure. Gently. I came to see if you were, as the stories tell, a guardian, a fierce protector with a connection to your land that is unmatched. Elthareth tilted her head, curiosity piqued. Elthareth. Challenging. And what do you seek? Do you come to test me further? Smiled, a gleam of admiration lighting up his features. But before she could step closer, the figure was gone. Elthareth remained on guard but felt a flicker of interest igniting within her. The jewel still sparkled in her hand, a piece of a greater puzzle she was only beginning to understand. Elthareth, carefully weighing her words, who are you? Chapter 6, A Visit from the Svartálfar Princess. Sound of hushed anticipation fills the throne room. Sunlight streams through the grand windows, illuminating the elaborate tapestries. Days turned to weeks as Elthareth awaited news from the council. Tension hung in the air, thick and suffocating, until one morning, a messenger arrived bearing tidings. Sound of footsteps hurrying down the hall, the doors swinging open. Messenger. Urgent. Your Highness, the Princess of the Svartálfar has arrived. Gasps ripple through the room as Altharetha's heart skips, a mixture of excitement and trepidation washing over her. The grand doors open wider, and a figure steps through, cloaked in deep green and gold. Then the figure, slight and cloaked, stepped forward. And the room bowed, not because tradition demanded it, but because instinct did. The princess of Svartálfar. She moved like shadow given form, moonlight woven into motion. The sun poured through the stained glass behind her, and Althareth forgot how to breathe. Her heartbeat pulsing. A faint chime as the silver gems catch the light. Her dark braid was laced with glinting jewels, one of which Althareth knew. Her heart stopped. Her mind raced. That jewel, the forest, the test. Her. Time stopped. The world held its breath. Althareth, soft, stunned whisper. Princess. Lysandra, calm, melodic. Lysandra. Her name fell from Altharetha's lips like a prayer. Lysandra. The first taste of something that felt alarmingly close to destiny. The princess lifted her gaze, and their eyes locked. Purple met glacier.
Light met dusk.
Fates collided in silence. Althareth, barely a breath. That is a beautiful name for such an exquisite soul. I am honored. The chimes of crystal, and someone coughs gently. The throne room resumes breathing. Her father's voice pulled her back, but her heart stayed tangled in Lysandra's. They sat. They talked. They celebrated. But through it all, their eyes never strayed far from one another. And then, confirmation. Althareth reached into her pocket, fingers closing around the stone. She drew it slowly, never breaking her gaze. Lysandra's pupils dilated. Her breath caught. Althareth quietly. It was you. Glasses clink. Laughter builds around them. But they remain outside the moment. Lysandra's face paled. But before words could be exchanged, the king's voice rang out. A danther, formal. The wedding shall be in 2 days. Let us drink, to alliance, to protection, to the future. But then Princess excused herself, and vanished like mist. Althareth sat, stunned, windswept by what she now knew, and what she desperately needed to understand. She found her alone, at the edge of the garden. No guards, no ceremony, just shadow and truth. Althareth carefully. Why? Lysandra, without turning. I needed to know if I could entrust my life to you. Althareth, voice barely steady. And did you? Lysandra turned. Her eyes softer now. Brighter. Haunted. Lysandra, with quiet conviction. I will pledge myself to you fully. That arrow was enchanted, meant to strike true. And yet you stopped it. You moved like a goddess of mountain and blade. I knew then. I would never be safer anywhere else. Althareth, incredulous, teasing despite herself. So, you shot an enchanted arrow at me to see if I was qualified? Lysandra stepped closer. Inches apart. Their breaths tangled. Lysandra, voice like falling rain. I am trained in all magics. I can vanish into shadow and never be found. I trust no one easily. But when you shattered my arrow, I knew you were the one. You're worthy. Then footsteps. Cloth rustling as she brushes past. Then silence. She left Althareth in the garden, heart pounding, soul trembling, mind racing. And still she wanted more. 2 days passed in a breath. Chapter 7. The Training Encounter. Althareth stands in the garden, the vibrant colors of the flowers dulled by the intensity of her thoughts. Every heartbeat echoes the interaction with Lysandra, and the weight of impending duty settles heavier on her shoulders. With the betrothal looming in just 2 days, the conversation from earlier swirls like autumn leaves in a rising wind, each word a reminder of the choices she faces. She decides to retrace her steps, seeking the solace of the forest. Perhaps the tranquility of home can quiet the turmoil within her. As the palace fades behind her, the trees welcome her with open arms, and the familiar rustle of leaves and the distant whisper of a stream begin to soothe her restless spirit. But even as she wanders deeper into the woods, thoughts of Lysandra intrude. The image of the princess, with her striking beauty and fierce spirit, is woven into the very fabric of her being. The realization that they are bound by more than mere duty, by a connection sparking in moments of vulnerability, sharpens her resolve. The enchanted arrow was a test, yes. But was it not also an invitation? Determined to confront this new reality, Althareth ponders the significance of their alliance. She remembers her grandmother's tales, how Kira dismantled old traditions to build a future rooted in love. Maybe this destined union with Lysandra could grow into something profound, a partnership that transcends obligation. As she approaches a familiar clearing, she feels a presence nearby. The forest shifts and rustles, a gentle reminder of its magic. Suddenly, there's a flash of movement. Her instincts kick in, and she maneuvers silently, quickly scaling a nearby tree to gain a vantage point. To her astonishment, it's Lysandra. The princess is not alone. She is demonstrating her remarkable skills in the ethereal dance of forest magic, weaving between trees with liquid grace. A small group of Svartálfar delegates watches, their faces etched with a blend of respect and admiration. Altharetha's heart races. This is the Lysandra she yearns to understand, a warrior unbound. Lysandra catches a glimmer of sunlight as she moves, creating a beautiful aura around her. The delegates cheer, their voices lilting with the rhythm of the moment. To Altharetha's eyes, she is both defender and mystic, an embodiment of the strength and freedom that resonate within the very essence of their people. Reassured by the action, Althareth quiets her mind, watching intently. The performance captivates her, a display of painstaking artistry and power, revealing the essence of a woman she is meant to unite with. Finally, amidst the rapture, Lysandra stops. She scans the trees, and their eyes lock, a connection sparking anew across the distance. "Join me," Lysandra calls, her voice melodic, inviting. "Come witness what lies within our bonds." Althareth hesitates only for a moment before descending the tree, her decisions melding into a singular path, a choice to embrace the adventure ahead. Every step she takes is imbued with intention and promise as she approaches the clearing, where the delegates part to make way, revealing Lysandra standing at the center. "Your Highness, Althareth begins, but Lysandra silences her with a single gesture. "Let us share our strengths, Althareth. We both have duties. Our kingdom's legacies hang in the balance. But there's more we can forge together." Underneath the ancient trees, Althareth feels a stirring within her, a burgeoning hope. They might yet navigate the chasm of obligation together, caught between duty and earnest desire. As she stands side by side with the Svartálfar princess, the weight of her lineage feels manageable, a burden shared, rather than lonely. They begin to practice together, the elements of forest and magic intertwining beneath their feet. With each movement, a pact forms, a promise rooted as deep as the mountains surrounding them, weaving a new destiny that embraces love and purpose. As daylight fades, Althareth and Lysandra leave the clearing, a bond strengthening with each step into the future, a future where unions formed by love could indeed change the fate of both their kingdoms. Chapter 8. The Altar. Sound of soft, ethereal music blending with ambient crowd noise. Distant laughter and chatter fill the air. The sun bathed the land in golden light, and joyous laughter danced through the air. It was a day of union, a celebration unlike any other. Two souls, destined to intertwine, stood before a gathering of friends and family. Sound of gentle rustling as people settle down, then the unmistakable sound of heels on stone moving forward. Ett helriel. Priest, clear on dignified. Nai vardat intale öl az uvailo elteretvea az yoshandravea, az naieru iluvatarayuvatau. Translation overlay. May Varda Starkindler hear Althareth and Lysandra's calls, and may Era the Father of all bless them. Sounds of bells chiming softly fill the air as Althareth and Lysandra exchange curious glances, anticipation lighting their faces. Altharetha's heart surged, a mix of excitement and love swelling within her. Clad in a gown that shimmered like stardust, She took a deep breath as her mother presented a gem strung on a delicate chain, meant for Lysandra. Sound of a small gem being placed down gently on a smooth surface. Eltharetha's mother. Affectionate, tender. This gem has been passed down through generations. May it bridge the love of our families. Soft murmurs of approval from the guests. The atmosphere thickens with emotion. Then it was Adanthar's turn, powerful yet gentle, his eyes shimmering with pride as he handed the same exquisite gift to his daughter. Adanthar. Authoritative yet warm. Elthareth, wear this as a symbol of your strength and your bond with Lysandra. May it guide you always. The crowd murmurs, then silence falls as they exchange rings, delicate yet strong, a promise etched in gold. Crowd cheers, glasses clink, and the sounds of celebration fill the air. Adanthar, raising his glass, to the union of Elthareth and Lysandra, may their love shine brightly. Cheering erupts, laughter echoing through the air, creating a backdrop of warmth and unity. In their shared bedroom. As the day's celebration faded into the twilight, the couple found solace in their shared sanctuary, an intimate bedroom adorned with memories and dreams yet to be fulfilled. Sound of rustling fabric as they step into the room. Soft footsteps. Lysandra, breathless, almost whispering, "Can you believe it? We're married now." Soft laughter, filled with joy and disbelief. Elthareth, playfully teasing, "You'd better believe it. That's a promise etched in the stars." Sound of a gentle embrace, their warmth filling the silence. In that moment, they were enveloped by each other, worlds beyond the realities awaiting them beyond the door. Soft sound of their heartbeats, resonating with shared closeness. Lysandra, a touch of vulnerability. "I never thought I could belong to someone like this." Elthareth, with sincerity, "You belong with me, now and always. You are my heart, my chosen." Sounds of a gentle kiss that lingers in the air, warmth radiating throughout the room. Chapter 9. The Daring Rescue. In the days after their wedding and their passionate wedding consummation, Elthareth and Lysandra was hardly seen apart. They trained together, protected their shared kingdoms together, laughed, danced, and in the quiet of their bedroom, read together. They learned each other's strengths and weaknesses. Their lovemaking grew more passionate with each night, and their love grew silent but strong. But a union like theirs are never without enemies and challenges. 3 months after their wedding, the world outside came knocking. Lysandra was walking in the forest one late afternoon, Elthareth in the study with her father, looking at the plans for expansion and the reports from various sentries all over the kingdom. Lysandra, voice low, searching, "I sense something, a presence in the trees." Sound of breathing quickening, heartbeats echoing. Lysandra, attuned to the mysteries of the night, felt the shift in the wind. The sound of a twig snapping beneath stealthy footfalls. Lysandra, commanding, "Show yourself." Quiet rustling, then a voice emerges from the shadows, cool and threatening. The figure steps into the light, and Lysandra's breath caught in her throat. It is not the figure that has her breathless and fear creeping up her neck, but what they hold in their hand. Midnight's sword, the only weapon, designed by dwarves, that can weaken dark elves and eventually petrify them. Lysandra, being a dark elf, knows that if he moves and a slight touch will be her demise. Intruder, chuckling softly, "You're braver than I expected, dark elf. But your courage will not save you." Sound of a sword being drawn. Tension palpable. "Who send you?" she asks with a tremble. He steps forward, and the blade of the midnight sword gleams in the moonlight. Lysandra steps back, her eyes focused on the intruder, chuckling softly, "You're braver than I expected, dark elf. But your courage will not save you." Sound of a sword being drawn. Tension palpable. "I am not here to hurt you, princess. You can come with me voluntarily, or at your own peril." The space around them suddenly lights up. Lysandra sees 4 more figures stepping out of the shadows, all holding midnight swords. She looks back at the castle and whispers, "Find me." Then she follows the 5 men into the dark. Althareth is bent over the table when she feels the wind on her ears. The sound of Lysandra's voice being carried. "Find me." She straightens and immediately grabs her sword and runs. She reaches the spot where her wife and the 5 assailants disappeared. Her sharp senses kick into overdrive, and she whispers to the trees, the forest, and the mountains. "Show me." A light like wisps appears in the dark forest. Althareth sends a message to her guards and father with the griffin and runs deeper into the mountain. Her speed is uncanny and driven by the threat of Lysandra's life being in peril. She senses the midnight sword and knows that they would not have taken her if they came without that weapon. Lysandra can defend herself, but not against the midnight sword. The mountain opens to Althareth. This is her domain. She was born from the mountains. She was carved here. Her magic and power, she draws from it. Her eyes are glowing pure purple as she scans the path. The wisps keeps illuminating the path. Then they stop. Althareth knows that she has reached the end of her kingdom. Beyond here, she is stepping into unknown territory. She pauses at the edge of the mountain, and her hand goes to the chain around her neck. Not the wedding chain, the one that is hidden behind it. This is her link to her grandmother. She has never had the need to invoke this spell, but tonight she knows she has no choice but to call on her. She sits cross-legged on the small tree stump and starts to chant. Allah-e-lo, Allah-el-nor, Allah-e-lo, Allah-el-nor. May the light guide, the stars empower, and the ancient spirits hear my call. By the breath of the wind, the touch of the rain, send your power, ease my pain. Sun and moon, earth and sky, hear my call, aid me nigh. A flash of light surrounded her, and then a glimmer figure appeared. Seal, the figure speaks. I have been waiting for your call. Althareth moves towards her grandmother and feels the spark of the old figure's touch. I need to save her. Her grandmother nods and with incantations and flashes of light, summoned the ancient warfare strength. She directs her hands towards Althareth, and a light engulfs her. Then it melts into her body and a faint glimmer glow over her. Go now, you will find her soon. The she disappears. Althareth feels surge of her grandmother's magic course through her veins, a fierce warmth igniting her very core. Empowered by her ancestral strength, she rises swiftly, determination set in her jaw. The fear for Lysandra's safety fuels her, sharpening the instinct that guides her deeper into the unknown. As she edges into the darkness beyond her kingdom, the landscape shifts subtly, the trees standing taller, the air thick with a tension that vibrates against her skin. She recalls the stories her grandmother told her, of ancient battles and lost loves, of sacrifices made in the name of protection. Today, she would embody that legacy. With each step, the world around her seems to quiet, holding its breath as if aware of the gravity of her quest. Althareth focuses on the glimmering whispers guiding her. They pulsate with energy, leading her through the labyrinth of shadow and stone, the midnight sword's presence an oppressive weight in the atmosphere. Suddenly, she hears voices, the low murmur of her captors carrying on the wind. Crouching low, Althareth inches toward the source, steadying her breath as she peers through the underbrush. The clearing ahead reveals Lysandra encircled by the 5 figures, each poised with their midnight swords, sinister glints reflecting the pale moonlight. The atmosphere buzzes with tension, and Lysandra stands defiant but visibly on edge. Her eyes dart, searching for an escape that seems momentarily eclipsed. Althareth moves like mist. No trace, no footprint, no shadow. She is a storm, but also a ghost, ethereal spirit, not of this realm, but yet grounded to it. She steps into the realm of the dark, yet nothing around her is dark. It's illuminated by her very presence. Her eyes scan her surroundings. Why do you seek to harm her? Althareth's voice cuts through the stillness, powerful and unwavering. The men turn, surprise flashing across their faces. She is a threat to us all, one of the figures declares, stepping forward. The union of the kingdoms will lead to downfall. Dark elves are not meant to mingle with others. Your fear blinds you, Elthareth retorts, her heart racing as she takes a step into the clearing, her purple eyes glowing with borrowed magic. Lysandra is not your enemy. I stand as her protector. It is you who should fear the consequences of your actions. Lysandra's gaze meets Elthareth's, filled with a combination of relief and fierce pride. The love between them strengthens the air, weaving an unseen barrier against the darkness closing in. Suddenly, the leader of the 5 lunges, sword aimed at Lysandra. Elthareth's instincts take over. With a swift incantation, she channels the magic from her grandmother, the light flaring brightly as she raises her hand. The ground trembles, and a brilliant shield envelopes Lysandra, briefly blinding the assailants. The midnight sword strikes the shield, but is repelled by the strength of Elthareth's magic, ricocheting harmlessly. The figures stagger back, confusion coloring their expressions. Now, Lysandra, Elthareth shouts, spurring her wife into action. Fight with me. With newfound resolve, Lysandra releases her own magic. The air crackles with energy around her as she faces her captors, her true power unleashed. She summons her own defensive spells, creating a dance of light and shadow that visibly unsettles the attackers. Together, they converge on their foes, their movements a fluid choreography of synchronized strength and love. Elthareth deflects strikes with her sword, and Lysandra counterattacks with bursts of energy from her hands, pushing back the would-be assailants inch by inch. As the battle rages on, numbers begin to dwindle. One by one, their foes are overpowered, confusion giving way to fear as the union of the 2 elven women proves stronger than they anticipated. Join me. Elthareth calls to Lysandra, extending her hand as she vaults over an attacker. In that moment, they connect, 2 halves of a whole, their magic intertwining, creating a blinding surge of energy that knocks the last man to the ground. Breathless and fierce, they stand amidst the fading light, the clearing now silent. Elthareth's eyes meet Lysandra's, and in that shared glance, a pact is renewed, a promise that they will always defend each other, no matter the odds. The remaining attackers retreat into the shadows, their threats dissolved under the might of the love forged within the heart of the mountains. Lysandra and Elthareth turn together, the night air warm against their skin despite the chill of danger that had momentarily swept over them. Let's go home, Lysandra whispers, her voice weary yet infused with a fire that burns for Elthareth. Elthareth nods, wrapping her arm around Lysandra as they begin their journey back through the woods. The tension that had filled their hearts begins to ease, replaced by a sense of safety drawn from their union. As they reach the edge of the clearing, Elthareth pauses. We need to inform the council about this. They won't stop trying to tear us apart. Agreed, Lysandra replies, her hand finding Elthareth's, intertwining fingers. But we face this together, just as we did tonight. As they step back into their kingdom, the moon shines above them, a witness to the love resilient enough to navigate the murkiest of threats and challenges. Their bond, now fortified in combat, will stand as an unyielding pillar for their shared future, an everlasting testament to the strength found through love, honor, and the fierce desire to protect what is most precious. Chapter 10: The Revenge. As the first light of dawn began to break, painting the skies in hues of gold and lavender, Elthareth and Lysandra remained entwined, the events of the night still echoing in their minds. The battle had ignited something primal within them, a fire that both scared and exhilarated. I never thought, Lysandra murmured, her fingers tracing the curve of Elthareth's jaw, that I would witness such artistry in combat. You moved like a force of nature. Elthareth smiled softly, the weight of her actions heavy on her chest, but lightened by the warmth of Lysandra's love. I only saw you in peril. That was all the motivation I needed. Your safety is worth any price. They lingered like that, cocooned in warmth and the shared rhythm of their hearts, until the distant sounds of the kingdom coming to life began to seep into their quiet moment. Adanthar's voice broke the stillness as he approached their balcony, awareness settling in his expression. Are you both all right? He asked, though concern quickly shifted to admiration. "What you did tonight, Elthareth. It was exceptional." "It had to be done, father," Elthareth replied, sitting up but keeping Lysandra close. "We cannot allow threats like that to linger. They will pay for what they attempted." Adanther nodded solemnly, understanding the weight of their enemies. "The council will convene immediately." Elthareth's resolve deepened at the thought of her father's wrath against those who dared to wield such destructive power. "I need to speak with him. He must know that we cannot be complacent." "Let's rest for now," Lysandra suggested, squeezing Elthareth's hand gently. "We've fought a battle, and we still have many to face. Together." Elthareth's heart swelled at the reminder of their unity. "Together," she echoed, sealing the promise with a lingering kiss. As day transitioned in earnest, their hidden sanctuary soon filled with warmth and color. They pulled away, reluctant yet energized, and made their way towards the royal halls, their fingers interwoven. Each step radiated a shared energy, fierce and unyielding. Upon entering the grand hall, the council was already gathered. The atmosphere buzzed with speculation and concern. Elthareth and Lysandra stepped forward, and then silence enveloped the room. "Elthareth," her father began, his voice steady, but edged with worry. "What happened?" With clarity and a fierce sense of duty, Elthareth recounted the events of the night: the encounter with the midnight swords, the ambush, the defense of Lysandra, and finally, the victory that marked their bond stronger than ever. Gasps of shock rippled through the assembly, but her father's face transformed from concern to fierce determination. "We cannot allow these acts of aggression to define us. We will seek out those responsible and put an end to this once and for all." "And the weapon?" Elder Lyriel interjected, urgency brimming in his words. "I will ensure that none can create a midnight sword again," her father vowed, his voice resonating with authority. "Let all who would challenge us know that the Lotrathage Empire will stand united against any threat." The council nodded in agreement, fury igniting the passions of the high elven lords and ladies. Elthareth felt the adrenaline of command surge within her, painting a vision of a unified kingdom diligent in protection. Later that evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Elthareth and Lysandra found themselves in the solitude of their shared room, the air thick with the lingering sense of the day's toil. "Are you truly okay?" Elthareth asked softly, cupping Lysandra's face in her palm. "You seem far away." "I'm fine, truly," Lysandra replied, her smile a warm balm. "Just reflecting on the power of your love. It helped me stand against my fear when I was captured. And it will always stand by you," Elthareth promised, drawing her into a gentle embrace. "You have my heart, my strength, and my promise of protection. Never doubt that." As the stars blanketed the night sky, they whispered dreams to one another, visions of peace, hope for their kingdoms, and a life together unburdened by darkness. The future seemed a tapestry still being woven, rich with possibility. Together, they drifted to sleep, knowing that whatever challenges lay ahead, their bond would remain an indomitable force, rooted in love, forged in fire, and destined for greatness. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe and like this video and follow me for more stories. You are always welcome here, and leave me a comment or a thumbs up, just letting me know if you like the story and would like more, or is there perhaps an idea that you would like to share or let me write for you.